Hi everyone, this is Anshu Budia, and basically here I am with some of the meritorious students, those students who have scored more than 70 plus, and in fact scored 80 plus in their F6 tax exam that was held in March 2023. I think it's better sometimes to understand from them, to look into their insights, that how they performed, what was their study plan, what was the strategies that they focused on that helped them in excelling in their exams. This could be a learning platform. I mean, this could act as a learning thing for all the other students who are going to appear for for their June attempt or the attempts coming forward. Okay, so without wasting time, let's hear from those students what was their strategy, what was their plan, and how did they achieve this great numbers in their exam. First of all, many congratulations to all of you and welcome to the meeting. Thanks for coming over and taking out time to help your peers. So thanks a lot. Okay, now
Thank you.
I think
Thank you, ma'am.
we can begin one by one. So who wants to go first? Who wants to discuss the experience first? Okay, so can we start with you, Aditya?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Yeah, please.
So, ma'am, my aim was to just clear my exam in first attempt. So I left no scope for any chance or for any concept. I cleared all my concept by preparing the notes. Every key point I prepared and written it down on my notes. And then I go through your recording. That was very amazing. I loved your teaching skills so much. It helped me a lot in my examination. So and then I go through examination kit. It was very helpful. I solved all the questions twice and thrice at least. So it helped me just give me overview how types of questions may come in the exams. So I was feeling after solving it twice that yes, I can do quite well in the exam. So and then I also solved your mock that you given us. That was very good. And all the past papers I prepared and solved it.
So just interrupting, did you solve your questions yourself or what did you do reading of the answers for section C?
No, ma'am, I just like in examination kit, I select questions from basically my target was from every day I attempted question from all the sections like from capital gains, inheritance tax, and every topics that were covered in taxation. So
Okay.
it was not like that I am just giving too much focus on one topic and getting forgetting all others. So it was equally I was giving every
Very good.
topic focus.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
then I used to solve it in Excel, full question, like putting me in like exam based conditions. I write all the working notes. I prepare everything like in
Okay.
I had to do in exam. So
Okay.
I prepared myself that way. And
Okay, great. Great. Now, if I can just ask you, Davida, that how
Yes,
was
ma'am.
your study plan? And also, did you also practice on the learning platform? Did you also practice mocks? And do you think that question solving on your own when you're doing section B or section C, does it help? Or because tax is a vast syllabus. So how did you memorize the things?
First of all, I did not devise a study plan, like a fixed study plan or something. It was just like I wanted to finish it as quickly as possible, like within a given time. And of course, practice is one important key. Like without practice, I'll never be able to get through it. And I did as much as mocks as possible, like from the CBE platform and the PR kit as well. Like that helped me a lot because I used to be considered as a below average student or something. And this is my first, ACCA exam paper. So I thought I will never, be able to
And you
learn because
scored 85,
like,
I guess.
No. I scored 78. That
70,
itself is a
yeah, 70, yeah.
huge thing for me
78.
because,
Very
yeah. So the first time it was my first paper, so obviously I got scared, and then yeah, it's obviously thanks to you, ma'am, because I like I usually said, it would have never been possible without you, and too much of
disclaimer,
practice.
no
Yeah.
promotion of my classes at all.
Okay, ma'am. So yeah, so
Nothing like this.
I heard the recorded classes again and again. I
Okay.
paid too much attention to your classes, and that's the reason. And also practice. One main thing, and anyone, I would advise anyone to do practice. Without practice, I don't think anyone will,
Never.
able
How
to
do
be
you remember
scored.
those? What strategy did you adopt to remember those penalties and the due dates? Because I know it's very cumbersome.
No, actually, I never wrote formulas or anything anywhere. It was just me, while during the course of the study, I was able to retain it in my head, like because
Did
it
you
was like
revise? Well,
repeated.
did you revise at least twice or once or twice?
Yes. PR kit was like I revised it twice or thrice, and workbook I didn't focus much on workbook. It was just like once. Then it was
You
all revision.
concentrated on implementation, right? Implementation of those
Yeah,
concepts and applying
execution.
them.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. And the formulas, right? When I kept on doing the kits and all of that, and from the CBE also, I was able to retain all of those formulas. And once that I'm not able to retain, I made small notes so that I can remember on the day of the exam. Like I'm able to go through it. So I made small notes for which I can't remember.
Just like
Otherwise,
Aditya
I
said
never.
that he made notes. So probably I can draw one correct that making your self notes apart from the notes that is available to you maybe by the tutor. Like I used to provide you all notes. So
Yes,
making your self
yes,
notes help you a lot in remembering things, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, Dipansh, if I can just ask you, were you able to complete your paper in 3 hours? Dipansh, you're on mute mode.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am, because you help me a lot. Means, firstly, tax is a concept, my mind is gone. But means, first tax and then recorded classes. I tensed, how did it get? But after you called and your teaching style, I loved it. I loved it. Means, one of the best teachers in my life. I've seen
Yes.
you. Means, and then you on call me, and after, and my paper is completed on 3 hours, before 3 hours, and I checked.
Good. Okay, tell me one thing. When you were doing, जब आप क्वेश्चंस कर रहे थे दिबांश, तो उस समय आपको जब आप खुद प्रैक्टिस करते थे, तो आपको कभी भी ये ट्रबल आई कि मेरे से ये क्वेश्चन नहीं हो रहा है, मैं क्या करूं? कभी ऐसा हुआ कि सेक्शन सी आप कर रहे हो और आप सोच रहे हो कि यार मैं बेटर है कि मैं पढ़ के ही कर लूं, या आपको जैसे आप क्वेश्चंस करो IHT के, सडनली आपको लग रहा है मैं वैट भूल गया, तो आप वो चीजें कैसे रिटेन कर रहे थे? मतलब आप जब रिविजन्स कर रहे हो या मॉक्स कर रहे हो, मुझे एक चीज ये भी बताओ, जब आप मॉक्स कर रहे थे आप एग्जैक्टली 3 घंटे बैठ के मॉक्स करते थे, और क्या आपको लगता है वो मॉक्स करना एक स्टूडेंट के लिए बहुत यूजफुल है एग्जाम देने के लिए? अगर मॉक्स नहीं
यस,
करे तो कोई फर्क पड़ता है?
बहुत फर्क पड़ता है मैम। मॉक से आप एकदम एग्जाम क्राइटेरिया समझ लेते हैं क्या क्या है। उसके बाद मैं, हाँ, 3 आवर बैठ रहा था, बिल्कुल स्टडी की तरह बैठ रहा था जैसे पेपर देना है। बट वही था, सेक्शन सी में आई टेल यू की प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी, देन यू हेल्प मी कि ऐसे ऐसे सॉल्व करिए। देन ठीक है, आपने जो बताया उसको अप्लाई करा, एंड दैट्स ऑल, आई गॉट 74 मार्क्स।
कितने मॉक्स किए थे आपने एग्जाम के पहले, इफ आई कैन नो?
थ्री
अप्रोक्सीमेट,
जो बीपीपी किट में थे और 2 आपने दिए थे, तो 5 हो
मतलब
गए थे,
5
टोटल 5
एटलीस्ट
थे।
आपने किया, उसके बाद पास्ट
हाँ जी,
पेपर्स भी किए होंगे।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, 3 उसी को मिला के बीपीपी
ओके,
जो
सो
किट में थे, और
अप्रोक्सीमेट
2
5
आपके।
6 आपने किए होंगे।
हाँ जी,
आदित्य,
हाँ
हाउ
जी।
मेनी मॉक्स डिड यू डू? मॉक्स, पास्ट पेपर्स approximately?
Ma'am, all the past paper that was available on the CB platform and mocks that you have given us 3 mock papers to 4 mock papers.
So I believe in total you have done at least 7 to 8,
Yes,
right?
ma'am, 8 to
Including
9
past
papers.
papers. And
Yes,
Abida,
ma'am.
how about you?
Same, ma'am. 6 to 7, and all those Kaplan questions, I believe, that you have
Yeah.
sent. Yes, all of them I've completed, and that's one of the main reasons. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Kathy, now can you also tell me about, see, I really want to know how much time did you take to prepare? I mean, along with the live classes, I know you were doing. So basically, how much time did you take to prepare for your taxes? And how many times revision did you do? I really want to understand, what was exactly your study strategy, how you kept yourself cool when you were in the exam time. How were you not panicking? So, this I really want to understand.
So actually, came off from a very good performance management paper from December, but I realized it was a fundamentally very different paper because I didn't have to memorize too much in PM. Here, even after I read the study kit twice, I couldn't recall most of the things. So I found that very difficult. But what I did mostly was I started with the exam kit, and that was the one that slightly started making those differences small. But I think the biggest difference came when I started doing the CB practice platform. I think I started with around 48, 50, and then as I went on, it went to 70. 70, and I 78 I scored.
So I think you can correlate that if your mock score gets higher, your actual exam score also gets higher, right?
Yeah.
So
usually it's better than the last paper you do, for sure.
Okay, so just as a question, suppose if one of the student who's preparing, Mr. A is preparing, then if he's getting around 50 to 55 in mocks, do you advise the person to directly go for the exam, or do you think that he should appear for more mocks?
No, definitely for more mocks. With 50, 55, it's very risky, but I think if you get 60 plus in your mocks, then you're surely ready for the exam.
And how are you ready? How about your revisions? How did you do your revisions, and how you kept yourself cool on the exam day?
On the exam day, firstly, I did not study on the exam day. Prior to that, I think last moment I went through those Excel sheets that you gave, those small notes that one was because that's mainly the things that come from. Of course, I'm not saying that is very comprehensive, that you should only focus on that, but definitely last day it is more than enough to go through those. And during the exam, on and off, there were questions even in section A, and which I was not sure about, but I flagged them and I went on. I just made sure with whatever I knew 100% I can pass my exam, and then I went back to those questions which I was not sure about, and then I did my calculations again, and I just wanted to make sure that 50 I get for sure, and then the remaining marks were just based on what I thought was best in that situation.
That's good. So basically, just answer me now when you're saying this. Suppose in section A, there was a question that you were not very sure of the answer. How did you use your judgment to answer it? Just as a small understanding?
Usually, it's not the case that you think all the 4 options are correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Usually, you will definitely get those 2 options which are wrong. Then, based on sometimes you remember that at that moment you remember something you've read from the exam kit that helps you solve it. Otherwise, you just give your best guess at that moment. But I think you should move on just to make sure you get 2 options and then pick the best one and just move on.
So
otherwise it impacts your other questions.
Yeah. So what I understand is you used your best estimate also. So instead of panicking at that time, you remained cool and you used your best estimate, right? Okay.
Yes.
Kathy, also can you tell me just elaborately, majorly, how much time did you take to complete your syllabus and how many times did you revise?
I did it 2 times, and then 2 times the Excel files, and the exam kit also 2 times.
Did you practice section C questions by pen and paper mode, or did you practice them on Excel or the practice platform mode?
No, practice platform mainly. But then, of course, there were days my internet was not working. Then I went to Excel, but never on pen and paper.
Okay, so do you think that the students should start with those Excel practicing from day one only for section C?
Yeah. Yeah, there's always just go with the practice platform. It will always be helpful. Because using pen and paper means you will have to use the calculator, and that's never the case
Yeah,
in the
right.
real exams. It's of
Right.
no use.
So, guys, one question for all of you. There are students who say me that, ma'am, taxes, we just have to mug up. Because, you know, they come and tell me that, ma'am, taxation, if we mug up, the better we remember. Do you support it? Or do you think that there are, according to you, which are those areas which should not be mugged up generally? Which you think that if a student mugs up, will definitely forget in the exam. Can you just highlight some of those areas? Generally, did you mug up everything in taxes, or do you think that you understood them conceptually? Because in taxes, do you think you can understand things conceptually also?
Actually, in comparison to the other subjects, definitely we have to memorize and mug up. But actually, the things that you have to actually mug up are the due dates, and because everything else will be given, like the percentages and all of that. So mostly it's practical.
Yeah, no, I'm
Otherwise,
asking now, for example, we are doing a property business income. For example, you know, maybe I'm doing a question in section C wherein employment part is there, self-employment is there, losses is there. So when you're doing question, were you memorizing the things as in the questions that you practiced? Were you able to link to those questions? Or was it like you were memorizing that, you know, in employment income, there are 10 exempt benefits. It is one of the exempt benefits. So like this. Or were you able to correlate with your practice? Or were you able to correlate with the understanding that you drawn in your life? I mean, you know, in your classes. Were you able to correlate those things in the exam?
yeah,
Dhabita,
mostly
Aditya
it's
can
very
also
difficult
answer.
to mug up.
Actually,
So
I think mugging up is never going to help, because as you keep on moving, you will have to understand it in a conceptual manner only. So I think obviously conceptually understanding the concepts, that is what is going to help.
Yeah, Khyati, you were saying something?
yeah, I was just saying that there are certain things that you have to mug up, but like for the exemptions, it's very obvious that certain things will be exempt. So if you try to mug up a whole list of things, you'll end up forgetting. You just try to use it like what is definitely going
Perfect.
to
I
be
mean, what
exempt.
you
Like
both said, this is what I want to highlight to the students, because a normal tax perception is that there are rules and regulations that need to be mug up. And there are students who are ending up in 45 to 50 bracket. The reason they are trying to mug up the list. The more you try to mug up, I feel as a student, you'll go blank in the exam. And that time you need to be, you know, and also the lack of practice will make you go blank. Aditya, just one point can you highlight, and Dipansh, you too. uh, do you think
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
you know, suppose I have students who say that, ma'am, you know, I've completed one time the full study text, and one time I was able to revise, and PNR kit we did half, and we did 2 or 3 mocks, and then the person says, ma'am, I did not clear. Can you think of why the person did not clear? Or is it that he lagged anywhere, according to you?
Ma'am, my inexperience, exam kits is something that it contains all the questions that have come in the past papers. So basically, we are uh, solving the exam condition questions, the only full-fledged question. Okay, so I think solving the exam kit helps a lot, and really it creates a very good chance of clearing the exam in the first attempt. So I think we should definitely solve it.
Yes. Dipansh, what do you think?
Ma'am, my experience
If I
is
if a
revise.
student does just two mocks or 3 mocks, is it sufficient? Or do you think that he
No,
should do
ma'am.
at least 5, 6 mocks?
5, 6 mocks, obviously, and more than that, if he can do it. My experience is practice continuously and revise 2, 3 times because it is very helpful in their papers.
Okay. So guys, I think I can just summarize what these lot of students have really excelled in not just studying taxes paper, but I'm sure they're excelling in their other papers also. The reason being they focused and told me, which we can make list of those points. Number one, please do sufficient mocks, at least 5 to 6 mocks, and then your past papers are needed. And I think along with the mocks, guys, do you think the evaluation was helpful? Like, I know most of you sent your mocks to me and I evaluated and sent back to you my my feedbacks. Do you think that helped you anywhere? I mean, honestly, did it help you?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It really helped actually, because like when I thought I was doing it all fine, you were actually able to find a lot of mistakes in my paper. So then I thought, okay, I have to correct this. So I paid attention to it and then I corrected it. Yes, and that helped really in presentation wise.
Okay.
You and your experience, ma'am, help from starting, because after your lecture you gave questions that lectures I solved, that I can't solve, and I messaged you, then you helped me so nicely. So your experience starting from
Okay,
starting.
so basically, I see Aditya and Khyati, even I want your views on one thing. There are some people who go for self-evaluation. That is, they give the paper, they evaluate themselves. And suppose you got it evaluated by me as a mentor. So do you think there is a difference between self-evaluation and evaluation by an experienced person? Do you think does it help you in your exams?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Because you are the mentor, obviously, so you know better and how to present the question exam, how to present solution in the exams. So definitely, your guidance really helps us, and securing the marks that we can lose by not knowing what should be the presentation, right, correct way of presentation. So yes, ma'am.
Khyati, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. In the
Did it help you?
answers that we get with the mocks, you only know like if you made any calculation error. But I think
Yes.
what mostly the examiners are looking for, they're looking for these small things like how you've shown the working for what figure. If by chance the figure is also wrong, it's not, you don't lose all your marks if you show the
Yes,
working. These are
exactly.
small points that
Exactly.
you told me
Exactly.
while I was doing the mocks.
Yeah. So, guys, I would just like to put these points that they are telling. Number one, mocks are essential. Evaluation by a person who's more experienced would make you understand the errors that you are doing, not just in calculation, but more in presentation also, more in the workings that you prepare. Then they also focused on the need that, revision at least 2 to 3 times is essential. Please don't go for mugging up the things. Try to understand things conceptually. Only some things like due dates, penalty rates, and all may be mugged up. But the other things, please don't mug up, because you cannot, mug up the big elephant syllabus of taxes. And apart from this, I think all of them were able to complete their exams in 3 hours. That means the time management that they did while they were practicing the exams, while they were studying for them. So that time they managed the time well. So they were eventually able to come out of this very well. And lastly, which they all have supported, is that you have to be confident. You have to be, using your best estimates in the exam. For some questions that you don't know, don't lose your confidence. Don't panic. Practice enough. Complete your exam kits at least twice. Understand the things logically. So then achieving 70 marks, 75 plus, 80 plus, 85 plus is not difficult. Okay, which they have secured. So if they have secured, even you can secure. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys for joining the session and taking out your precious time, so at such a small request of mine. So thank you everyone.
Welcome,
And
ma'am.
for any queries that all of you may be having, the viewers, you can drop me a query WhatsApp, query message. I would definitely work to it. So thank you, Davida, Aditya, Dipansh, Khyati, and congratulations again for the wonderful scores that you had. Good luck for your forthcoming
Thank you,
exams, and
ma'am.
I wish to hear
Thank
from you
you.
the same
Thanks,
scores,
ma'am.
and
It's
even
my pleasure.
Thank you,
better
ma'am.
than
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much, guys.